Ladies and gentlemen, there's something profoundly human about the experience of feeling broken. It's not just a condition of the body, it's a condition of the spirit. For a woman who feels broken, the weight of her burdens may seem unbearable, and the road ahead may appear obscured by shadows of doubt and despair. But let us explore what this feeling signifies and how we might navigate through it. First, we must acknowledge the origins of this pain. Brokenness often stems from a collision between reality and expectation. Perhaps it's a relationship that didn't fulfill its promise, a career that feels unaligned with your essence, or a betrayal that shattered your trust. The pain is real, and dismissing it as trivial would be an injustice. But to move forward, we must investigate it not as victims, but as curious and courageous individuals seeking understanding. Now, here's a truth: responsibility can be a lifeline. When everything seems to be falling apart, start small. Order your surroundings. Clean your room. Make your bed. Take care of your body, even if it's just drinking a glass of water or going for a walk. These actions might seem trivial, but they're foundational. They provide a foothold when you're climbing out of the abyss. Brokenness, in many ways, is the result of chaos overwhelming order. Chaos is not inherently evil, it's the realm of possibility, growth, and transformation. But it's also the unknown, the frightening uncertainty. Your task is to bring order to that chaos, one step at a time. With every piece of order you establish, you reclaim territory from despair. This process involves rediscovery. Who are you truly, beneath the labels, the roles, the expectations? What are your values? What boundaries do you need to set to protect your identity? These questions demand reflection and honesty. They are uncomfortable, but they are necessary. Remember, progress is not about perfection. It's about incremental improvement. If you can make today slightly better than yesterday and tomorrow slightly better than today, you are moving forward. And that movement, no matter how small, is a triumph. Finally, understand this: brokenness is not the end. It's a signal that something within you needs attention and care. And it's an opportunity for transformation. You are stronger than you believe. And the act of rebuilding, though painful, is an act of immense power. To understand brokenness, one must first explore its origins, for brokenness does not emerge in a vacuum. It is the result of an intricate interplay of life events, perceptions, and unmet expectations. For many women, the experience of feeling broken often ties to significant emotional events, trauma, betrayal, loss, or even the slow erosion of dreams by the mundane realities of life. These moments leave marks, etching deep scars into the psyche, and create a sense of fracture within one's identity. To understand these feelings, one must courageously confront the source. Feeling broken often starts with the dissonance between who we believe we are and the reality we face. Society plays a significant role in shaping these beliefs, often prescribing rigid roles and ideals for women. From a young age, many women are taught to embody perfection, to be caregivers, achievers, nurturers, and sources of beauty, all at once. These expectations create an internal framework against which life events are measured. When reality falls short, when relationships falter, careers stagnate, or personal goals feel unattainable, the dissonance grows. It becomes easy to internalize these external failures as personal inadequacies, reinforcing a sense of brokenness. Yet the experience of brokenness is not solely shaped by external forces. The human mind has a remarkable ability to narrate its own story, but these narratives are not always accurate. A woman who feels broken might revisit her past, replaying moments of perceived failure or inadequacy, and through repetition, these memories take on exaggerated significance. The mind, in its attempt to protect, paradoxically deepens the wound by distorting the story, making it seem as though the brokenness defines her entirely. Understanding the role of these internal narratives is essential to breaking free from their grip. Trauma often serves as a profound source of brokenness. Whether physical, emotional, or psychological, trauma interrupts the natural flow of life and creates a sense of disconnection. The world no longer feels safe, and the self no longer feels whole. For many women, this disconnection manifests as a feeling of isolation or alienation, not just from others, but from themselves. They may struggle to trust their own instincts or find it difficult to believe they deserve happiness or love. To address brokenness, one must gently unravel the layers of trauma, understanding how these events continue to shape thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Brokenness is not always born from singular dramatic events. Sometimes it emerges from a series of small, unacknowledged wounds, moments of dismissal, subtle rejections, or the gradual loss of dreams. These small moments accumulate over time, creating a quiet but persistent sense of inadequacy. For instance, a woman who consistently prioritizes the needs of others over her own may one day find herself depleted, wondering where her sense of purpose and self-worth have gone. The absence of obvious trauma can make this type of brokenness harder to recognize, but its impact is no less profound. Cultural and societal factors also contribute to the experience of brokenness. Women often find themselves navigating conflicting expectations, where success in one domain, such as a career, can feel like failure in another, such as family or relationships. These conflicting demands create an almost impossible standard to meet, setting the stage for feelings of failure and inadequacy. Moreover, societal stigmas around mental health and vulnerability can discourage women from expressing their pain or seeking help, leaving them to bear the burden of brokenness in silence. At its core, brokenness often stems from the loss of meaning or direction. When the structures that once provided purpose, whether relationships, roles, or goals, collapse, it leaves a void. This void is unsettling, for it challenges the very foundation of identity. A woman who feels broken may ask herself, who am I if not a wife, mother, or professional? What is my worth if I am no longer fulfilling these roles? These questions are difficult but crucial. They signal the beginning of a journey toward deeper understanding and growth. Acknowledging the source of brokenness requires vulnerability and courage. It involves examining the pain without judgment, seeking to understand rather than condemn. This process is not about assigning blame whether to oneself, others, or circumstances, but about gaining clarity. It is about recognizing that brokenness, while painful, is a universal part of the human experience. It is not a permanent state, but a signal that something within requires attention and care. Understanding brokenness also means embracing complexity. People are not defined by a single moment or characteristic. They are the sum of their experiences, choices, and aspirations. A woman who feels broken is not simply broken. She is someone navigating profound challenges, searching for meaning and connection. By exploring the roots of her pain, she can begin to see herself not as a victim of circumstance, but as a resilient individual capable of growth and transformation. In examining the source of brokenness, it becomes evident that the feeling itself is not the enemy. It is a messenger, pointing to areas of life that need healing, adjustment, or reevaluation. By facing this message with honesty and compassion, a woman can begin the journey of rebuilding, not to return to who she once was, but to discover a stronger, wiser version of herself. When someone feels broken, the notion of taking responsibility can seem overwhelming or even unfair. After all, if life's difficulties have been imposed by external forces, betrayal, loss, or circumstances beyond control, why should the burden of repair fall upon the individual who is already struggling? However, responsibility is not about assigning blame or shouldering the entire weight of the world. Rather, it is about finding the smallest, most manageable actions within one's control that can bring a semblance of order and meaning to life. Responsibility, when approached incrementally, is a transformative force that can guide a broken spirit toward healing. At its core, responsibility offers structure. When life feels chaotic and fractured, even small acts of responsibility can provide a sense of stability. Cleaning a desk, preparing a meal, or organizing a single drawer might seem trivial, but these acts have symbolic power. They demonstrate that, despite the turmoil, there are still aspects of life that can be managed and improved. This sense of control, however modest, begins to counterbalance the feelings of helplessness that often accompany brokenness. Responsibility, in this way, becomes a foothold, something tangible to grasp when everything else feels uncertain. Taking on responsibility also fosters a sense of agency. When a woman feels broken, she might believe that life is happening to her, that she is merely a passive participant in a cruel narrative beyond her control. This belief can be paralyzing. Responsibility, however, shifts the perspective. By choosing to engage with even the smallest tasks, she asserts her capacity to influence her circumstances. This act of agency, no matter how minor, serves as a reminder that she is not entirely powerless. It's not about solving every problem at once, it's about proving to oneself that change, however gradual, is possible. Responsibility also acts as a bridge to meaning. Human beings thrive when their actions are imbued with purpose, yet a sense of brokenness often erodes this connection. Responsibilities, when chosen deliberately, can reignite that sense of purpose. For example, taking care of a child, supporting a friend, or nurturing a plant are not just tasks, they are acts of creation and connection. They remind us that our existence impacts the world around us, however subtly. By fulfilling these roles, a woman begins to see that her life still holds value, even amidst pain. It's important to recognize that responsibility need not be grand or all-encompassing. In fact, the weight of excessive or poorly chosen responsibilities can exacerbate feelings of brokenness. The key lies in starting small and being intentional. A woman who feels overwhelmed by the idea of fixing her entire life might instead ask herself, what is one thing I can do today that will make tomorrow slightly better? This approach focuses on achievable steps, building momentum over time. Each completed task, no matter how minor, becomes a victory, a sign that progress is possible. There is also a profound relationship between responsibility and self-respect. When a woman takes responsibility for aspects of her life, she affirms her own worth. This is not about proving value to others, but about demonstrating to herself that she deserves care, attention, and effort. By taking responsibility for her environment, her health, or her time, she sends a message to her own mind, I matter. This self-affirmation can be a powerful antidote to the internal narratives of worthlessness that often accompany brokenness. Also encourages discipline and resilience. Life is inherently unpredictable, and challenges are inevitable. By cultivating responsibility, a woman develops the tools to navigate these challenges more effectively. The discipline required to maintain small, consistent efforts builds resilience over time, creating a foundation of strength that can withstand future difficulties. Taking responsibility fosters connection. Many responsibilities involve interacting with others, caring for a loved one, contributing to a community, or even offering a kind word to a stranger. These acts of connection remind a woman that she is not alone, that her life is interwoven with the lives of others. This sense of belonging can be deeply healing, counteracting the isolation that brokenness often brings. It is worth noting that responsibility does not mean ignoring or suppressing pain. On the contrary, responsibility provides a framework for addressing pain constructively. Instead of being consumed by despair, a woman can channel her energy into actions that create positive change. This is not a denial of brokenness, but an acknowledgement of its presence alongside the determination to move forward. In essence, responsibility is not a burden, it is a tool. It is the act of saying, I cannot control everything, but I can control something. Through this mindset, a woman who feels broken can begin to piece her life back together, not by carrying the weight of the world, but by choosing to carry what she can. Responsibility becomes both the path and the destination, a means of rebuilding strength, creating meaning, and rediscovering self-worth. It is an act of courage, a declaration of hope, and a profound step toward healing. The interplay between order and chaos is one of the most fundamental dynamics of human existence. Order represents structure, predictability, and stability. It is the known, the safe, and the dependable. Chaos, on the other hand, is the realm of the unknown, uncertainty, and potential. It is the unpredictable terrain where life's challenges, pain, and possibilities reside. For a woman who feels broken, this interplay becomes especially pronounced, as the overwhelming presence of chaos in her life can overshadow any semblance of order. However, understanding this balance and learning to navigate it can be a powerful means of transformation. Chaos often feels terrifying because it represents everything that is out of our control. When life feels broken, it's usually because chaos has intruded into what once felt like an orderly existence. Perhaps it's a sudden loss of a loved one, a relationship, or a sense of purpose that disrupts the carefully built structures of life. Or maybe it's the accumulation of smaller, unacknowledged disruptions that eventually topple the fragile sense of stability. In either case, chaos emerges as an uninvited force, shaking the foundation of identity and leaving one feeling adrift. Yet chaos is not inherently destructive. While it is true that chaos can bring pain and disorder, it is also the space where growth and transformation occur. Chaos holds within it the seeds of potential, the possibility of something new and meaningful emerging. This dual nature makes chaos both a threat and an opportunity. The challenge lies in learning to face it without being consumed by it. For a woman who feels broken, this begins with recognizing that chaos is not an indication of personal failure, but a natural part of life's rhythm. Everyone encounters periods of chaos. What matters is how one responds. Order, by contrast, provides a sense of security and direction. It is the foundation upon which we build our routines, relationships, and goals. When life feels stable and predictable, order allows us to focus, create, and connect without constantly battling uncertainty. However, too much order can also be stifling, leading to rigidity and stagnation. A life entirely devoid of chaos might feel safe, but it also risks becoming empty, lacking the spontaneity and challenge necessary for growth. This is why the balance between order and chaos is so vital. It is in the dynamic tension between these forces that life finds its fullest expression. For someone who feels broken, the immediate task is often to restore a sense of order. This does not mean attempting to control everything at once. That would be both impossible and counterproductive. Instead, it means focusing on small, manageable areas where order can be reintroduced, organizing one's physical environment, establishing simple routines, or setting small, achievable goals are all ways to begin reclaiming order. These actions might seem insignificant in the face of larger chaos, but they are crucial. They create pockets of stability that serve as a foundation for tackling more significant challenges. It's important to acknowledge that chaos cannot and should not be eliminated entirely. Trying to banish chaos from life is not only futile but also counterproductive. Chaos as the realm of the unknown is where we encounter new experiences, ideas, and opportunities. It is the source of creativity, innovation, and personal growth. For a woman who feels broken, part of the healing process involves learning to engage with chaos constructively. This means approaching the unknown not with fear but with curiosity, seeing it as a space for potential rather than purely as a threat. Navigating chaos requires courage and adaptability. It involves stepping into discomfort and uncertainty, not recklessly, but with a sense of purpose. For example, if the chaos stems from a relationship that has ended, the task might involve confronting the pain of loss, while also exploring new ways to connect with others or rediscovering personal interests. If the chaos arises from a lack of direction, it might mean experimenting with different paths, accepting that not every choice will lead to immediate clarity. In each case, the goal is not to avoid chaos, but to engage with it in a way that fosters growth. The relationship between order and chaos is not static. Life is a constant process of moving between these two forces, finding balance, and then recalibrating as circumstances change. For a woman who feels broken, this means understanding that periods of chaos are not permanent. They are part of a larger cycle, and with effort and patience, they can give way to renewed order. Similarly, the order that is restored will not be the same as before. It will be richer, informed by the lessons learned from navigating chaos. The power of order and chaos lies in their interplay. Chaos challenges us, pushing us out of our comfort zones and forcing us to adapt. Order grounds us, providing the stability needed to face those challenges without being overwhelmed. Together, they create a dynamic process through which life becomes meaningful. For a woman who feels broken, embracing this dynamic is a path to transformation. It is a reminder that even in the midst of disorder, there is the potential for growth, and within every act of rebuilding, there is an opportunity to create something stronger and more resilient. Reclaiming identity is a deeply personal yet universally significant journey, particularly for someone who feels broken. When a woman experiences a sense of brokenness, it is often accompanied by a profound disconnection from who she believes she is or was. Her sense of self, once rooted in roles, relationships, or aspirations, may feel fragmented or even lost. This process of reclamation requires courage, introspection, and a willingness to rebuild an identity that is authentic and resilient. At the heart of reclaiming identity lies the realization that identity is not fixed, it is dynamic and evolves over time. Many women construct their identities based on societal expectations, family roles, or professional achievements. These external markers can provide structure and purpose, but when life's challenges such as trauma, failure, or significant change disrupt these markers, the foundation of identity can feel shaken. This disruption, though painful, is also an invitation to look inward and redefine who one truly is, independent of external validation. The first step in this process is reflection. A woman who feels broken might begin by asking herself essential questions: what truly matters to me? What are my core values? What are the beliefs and narratives I've internalized about myself, and are they accurate? These questions are not easy to answer, especially when self-doubt and emotional pain cloud judgment. However, they are vital for peeling back the layers of assumptions and expectations that may no longer serve her. Reflection is not about seeking perfection, but about gaining clarity. Understanding core values is a cornerstone of reclaiming identity. Values are the guiding principles that shape decisions and actions, and they often remain steady, even when circumstances change. For example, a woman who values compassion may find fulfillment in nurturing relationships or helping others, regardless of the specific role she occupies. By reconnecting with her values, she can begin to see herself not as defined by external roles or achievements, but as someone with intrinsic worth and purpose. Boundaries play a crucial role in this process as well. When a woman feels broken, it is often because her boundaries have been violated or neglected. She may have given too much of herself to others, prioritized external expectations over her own needs, or allowed unhealthy dynamics to persist in relationships. Reclaiming identity requires establishing and maintaining boundaries that protect her emotional and mental well-being. This is not an act of selfishness, but of self-respect. Setting boundaries signals to herself and others that her needs and feelings are valid, and that her identity is worth safeguarding. Another essential aspect of reclaiming identity is letting go of the past, not in the sense of erasing it, but in the sense of reframing it. Painful experiences, failures, or disappointments often leave a lasting imprint, shaping how a woman perceives herself. These experiences might lead to beliefs such as "I'm not enough, I'm unlovable," or "I'll never succeed." While these beliefs feel real, they are not immutable truths. By revisiting these moments with compassion and curiosity, she can begin to rewrite the narrative. Instead of seeing herself as broken because of what happened, she can view herself as someone who endured, learned, and survived. The past becomes a source of strength, not a prison. Reclaiming identity also involves exploring new possibilities. Brokenness can create a sense of stagnation, as though life has come to a halt. But within this stillness lies an opportunity to experiment, to rediscover passions, and to imagine a future that aligns with her true self. This might mean pursuing a new hobby, reconnecting with old interests, or simply giving herself permission to try something unfamiliar. These explorations are not about achieving immediate success, but about expanding her sense of what is possible and reclaiming the joy of discovery. The role of self-compassion cannot be overstated in this journey. A woman reclaiming her identity must learn to be kind to herself, especially when she feels vulnerable or uncertain. Brokenness often comes with harsh self-criticism, a relentless inner voice that highlights failures and shortcomings. Countering this voice with gentleness and understanding is essential. Self-compassion allows her to see herself as a whole person, flawed yet worthy, struggling yet resilient. It is through this lens of compassion that she can begin to rebuild her identity with grace and patience. Reclaiming identity also means embracing the complexity of who she is. People are multifaceted, shaped by a rich tapestry of experiences, emotions, and aspirations. A woman does not have to fit into a single role or narrative to have a valid identity. She can be strong and vulnerable, ambitious and nurturing, independent and connected. Embracing this complexity allows her to move beyond the limiting labels or expectations that may have contributed to her sense of brokenness in the first place. Reclaiming identity is about taking ownership of one's story. It is about recognizing that while circumstances may influence her, they do not define her. A woman who feels broken can choose to see herself not as a victim of her circumstances, but as an active participant in shaping her life. This process is neither linear nor easy. It requires time, effort, and the willingness to confront discomfort. But with each step, she moves closer to an identity that is authentic, resilient, and deeply her own. In reclaiming her identity, a woman discovers that she is not defined by the role she has played or the challenges she has faced. She is defined by her ability to rise, to adapt, and to continue seeking meaning and connection. Through this journey, she not only heals but also emerges stronger and more connected to the essence of who she truly is often misunderstood as weakness, particularly in a world that places immense value on strength, independence, and resilience. For a woman who feels broken, the prospect of embracing vulnerability may seem counterintuitive, even terrifying. Pain, fear, and uncertainty can leave her feeling exposed, and the instinctive response might be to shield herself from further harm. Yet it is precisely through the courageous acceptance of vulnerability that profound healing and transformation become possible. Vulnerability, far from being a sign of weakness, is a testament to human strength and authenticity. When a woman feels broken, she often carries with her a deep sense of shame or inadequacy. This shame might stem from perceived failures, traumatic experiences, or unmet expectations. Shame convinces her that her struggles make her unworthy of love, respect, or understanding. It whispers that she must hide her pain to avoid judgment or rejection. This narrative is both isolating and destructive, trapping her in a cycle of silence and self-criticism. Embracing vulnerability, on the other hand, challenges this narrative by allowing her to confront her pain openly and honestly. Vulnerability begins with self-honesty. It requires a woman to acknowledge her feelings without judgment or suppression. This can be incredibly difficult, especially when those feelings include fear, sadness, anger, or regret. Society often encourages women to suppress their emotions, to stay strong in the face of adversity. But denying one's feelings does not make them disappear, it only pushes them deeper, where they can fester and grow. By allowing herself to feel and name her emotions, a woman takes the first step toward understanding and processing them. Sharing vulnerability with others is an equally powerful act. It takes immense courage to let someone else see the parts of oneself that feel raw and unpolished. However, in doing so, a woman opens the door to connection and support. Genuine relationships are built on trust and authenticity, and sharing vulnerability deepens these bonds. When a woman expresses her struggles to a trusted friend, therapist, or loved one, she often discovers that she is not alone in her experiences. Others may respond with empathy, encouragement, or their own stories of resilience. This shared humanity can be profoundly healing, reminding her that brokenness is not a personal failing but a universal part of life. Vulnerability also fosters self-acceptance. When a woman embraces her imperfections, she stops striving for an unattainable ideal of perfection. This does not mean giving up on self-improvement or growth, rather. It means recognizing that she is worthy of love and respect exactly as she is, even as she works toward becoming the person she wants to be. Self-acceptance liberates her from the constant pressure to prove her worth to herself or others. It allows her to focus on what truly matters, living authentically and finding meaning in her experiences. Paradoxically, embracing vulnerability is one of the greatest demonstrations of strength. It takes far more courage to face pain head-on than to avoid it. Vulnerability requires a woman to confront her fears, acknowledge her limitations, and step into the unknown. This willingness to engage with discomfort is a testament to her resilience and determination. By embracing vulnerability, she proves to herself that she is capable of enduring and growing from life's challenges, no matter how overwhelming they may seem. Furthermore, vulnerability is the gateway to creativity and growth. It is in moments of uncertainty and openness that new ideas, perspectives, and opportunities emerge. For a woman who feels broken, this might mean exploring new paths, expressing herself through art or writing, or rediscovering passions that were set aside. Vulnerability allows her to take risks without being paralyzed by the fear of failure. It reminds her that growth often comes from stepping outside of her comfort zone and embracing the possibilities that lie beyond. Another profound aspect of vulnerability is its role in building resilience. Resilience is not about avoiding pain, but about navigating it with grace and courage. When a woman allows herself to be vulnerable, she learns to cope with adversity in a healthy and constructive way. Each time she confronts her fears or seeks support, she builds the emotional muscles necessary to face future challenges. Over time, she develops a deep inner strength that is not diminished by vulnerability, but enhanced by it. Finally, vulnerability leads to authenticity. To be vulnerable is to be real, to show up as one's true self without masks or pretense. This authenticity is liberating, freeing a woman from the exhausting task of pretending to be something she is not. When she embraces her vulnerability, she aligns with her values and desires, creating a life that reflects her genuine self. Authenticity also attracts meaningful connections with others who appreciate her for who she truly is, rather than for the facade she might feel pressured to maintain. In embracing vulnerability, a woman learns that strength is not about being invulnerable or untouched by pain. True strength lies in the ability to face life's challenges with honesty, courage, and openness. Vulnerability is not a liability but a source of connection, growth, and empowerment. It is through the courageous act of embracing her own humanity, flaws, fears, and all that a woman who feels broken begins to heal and rediscover her sense of worth and purpose. Vulnerability becomes not just a step toward recovery, but a powerful affirmation of life itself. When a woman feels broken, she often struggles to find a sense of purpose or meaning in her life. This is not surprising, as experiences of loss, failure, or trauma can strip away the structures and narratives that once provided direction and significance. However, the process of rebuilding through purpose and meaning is both possible and transformative. It is a path that requires reflection, intentionality, and the courage to move forward despite uncertainty. Through this journey, a woman can rediscover a life that feels not only whole but deeply fulfilling. Purpose is the foundation of a meaningful life. It provides a sense of direction, a reason to get up each morning, and a connection to something greater than oneself. For a woman who feels broken, rediscovering purpose can be daunting, particularly if her previous sense of purpose was tied to a role, relationship, or goal that has been lost. The first step in rebuilding is to recognize that purpose does not have to be grand or monumental. It can begin with small, meaningful actions that align with her values and desires. Rebuilding purpose often starts with exploring what matters most. This requires introspection and a willingness to ask deep, sometimes uncomfortable questions. What brings me joy? What do I care about? What kind of person do I want to be? The answers to these questions may not come easily, or especially when a woman feels disconnected from herself, but even tentative answers can provide a starting point. Purpose is not a fixed destination, but a journey, and it is shaped and refined through action and experience. Engaging in meaningful activities is a powerful way to rediscover purpose. These activities do not have to be grand gestures. They can be as simple as helping a friend, pursuing a hobby, or volunteering for a cause. What matters is that these actions feel aligned with her values and offer a sense of contribution. For example, a woman who values creativity might find purpose in painting or writing, while someone who values connection might focus on nurturing relationships or supporting her community. These actions not only provide a sense of purpose, but also help rebuild self-esteem and confidence. Meaning, while closely related to purpose, is distinct in its focus. Meaning arises from the interpretation and understanding of experiences, particularly those that are challenging or painful. For a woman who feels broken, finding meaning in her struggles can be profoundly healing. This does not mean minimizing or justifying the pain she has endured. Instead, it involves reframing her experiences in a way that acknowledges her resilience, growth, and capacity for transformation. One way to find meaning in adversity is to focus on the lessons it has offered. Painful experiences often reveal hidden strengths, clarify priorities, or deepen empathy for others. A woman who has faced loss might come to appreciate the preciousness of life, while someone who has endured hardship might develop a greater capacity for compassion. These lessons do not erase the pain, but offer a sense of purpose and perspective that can guide her forward. Connection with others is another vital aspect of rebuilding through purpose and meaning. Humans are inherently social beings, and relationships often provide the context in which purpose and meaning are discovered and expressed. A woman who feels broken might find solace and inspiration in connecting with others who have faced similar challenges. Shared experiences create a sense of solidarity and remind her that she is not alone in her struggles. Moreover, helping others, whether through mentorship, advocacy, or simple acts of kindness, can be an incredibly powerful way to find purpose. Rebuilding through purpose and meaning also requires patience and self-compassion. It is not a linear process, and there will likely be moments of doubt, frustration, and setbacks. These moments are not signs of failure but natural parts of the journey. By treating herself with kindness and acknowledging her efforts, a woman can maintain the resilience needed to keep moving forward. It is important to celebrate small victories and recognize that progress, no matter how incremental, is still progress. Or a sense of connection to something larger than oneself can also play a significant role in finding purpose and meaning. This does not necessarily require adherence to a specific religion or belief system, rather, it involves cultivating a sense of awe, gratitude, or interconnectedness. For some, this might mean connecting with nature, meditating, or reflecting on the beauty and mystery of life. For others, it might involve engaging with a community of faith or exploring philosophical questions about existence. These practices can provide a sense of grounding and inspiration that supports the process of rebuilding. Rebuilding through purpose and meaning is about creating a life that feels authentic and fulfilling. It is not about returning to a previous state or replicating a past sense of purpose, but about embracing the present and looking forward with hope and intention. For a woman who feels broken, this process is an act of courage and creativity. It is a declaration that she is more than her pain, more than her struggles, and more than the circumstances that have brought her to this point. Through purpose and meaning, she can transform her brokenness into a source of strength. Thank you.